All right, so let's run the project. The first thing that I want to correct is adding this divide by 100, because when we get the weight, it's in percent, so it'll be something like 5 or 20, but um, as a mathematical notation, we want to put in the divide by 100 to actually convert it to a proper percent. Okay, so I just added this new investment here in the main method, so it'll run everything that we put in our constructor. So if we run it, it's going to ask for a series of inputs. So let's calculate the previous year first, and we'll just put Alice's marks. So 4, she got 4 out of 7. The investment name we'll just say as Alice, and it's 5% of our portfolio. So it's a little bit messy in terms of how we're actually typing things in. We could add some print lines and maybe add in a couple more prompts, but for this purposes, we're going to assume that the person entering all the information knows what to put in. Maybe even later on we can add some graphical user stuff, but for now this should be fine in getting us to our answer. Okay, so let's move to the next investment, which is company B, or Bob. So Bob got a risk rating of B. The name is Bob, and it's 15% of our portfolio. Cindy has a risk rating of A, and they are 25% of our portfolio. So David got 25 out of 38 on their checklist, and they're named David, and they are 20% of our portfolio. So Eric, did they pass? Yes, they did pass. So we'll put in true. And this is where, by the way, all the, this is where the scanner class comes in, because we're just scanning successively each input. So yes, they did pass, true. And the name is Eric, and they're 15% of the portfolio. And finally, Freddie got a false rating, so they're 20. Okay, and over here again, we could maybe change it so that we can type in pass or fail instead of true or false, but we'll go into stuff like exception handling a little bit later. But for the most part, what we really want to introduce is the concept of using an abstract class and its different subclasses in order to use a singular method to calculate the risk regardless of what type of investment it is. Okay, so if we hit enter, we'll see that the total risk is 28.23 and some change percent. And the reason why I didn't format is because we didn't actually use our formatter. So if we say formatter dot format, and it's not really a big issue. I mean, we got the basic number down, but let's make it look as neat as possible. Okay, so if we copy this again and run it, we'll just paste it in. There we go, 28.23%. So let's actually store that in our previous year. Come down and create a total. 28.23%. So that's pretty neat. We've taken all of these different types of investments with all of these different types of grading, different percentages of the portfolio, and we've boiled it down to a nice, neat number. Now, in reality, with banks or financial institutions or regular companies, I highly doubt it's going to be that simple. But for the cases of this assignment, for the purpose of this assignment, this will suffice. Okay, so let's calculate it for the current year. So let's run the project again. This time we're going to enter the new inputs. So in this scenario, Alice did a little bit better than last time. They got 6 out of 7 and still 5% of the portfolio. Bob moved up to an A, and Cindy moved down to a B, and they are worth still 25%. David improved, completing 32 out of the 38 points on the checklist. David 20. And Eric, who passed previously, whoops, false, has now failed. But Freddie, who failed the previous year, has now passed. So say true, Freddie and 20. Okay, so the total risk this year is 29.62%. 0.62%. And there you have it. We've now calculated the risk for the current year, the previous year, and now we can say with a good degree of certainty that we've gotten riskier in the current year. So